All right, so there's going to be another movie review. This one's called Rapid Fire 1992. This is going to be another Karate Man recommendation. Giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I love this flick. The movie poster looks cool. Brandon Lee, Rapid Fire, unarmed and extremely dangerous. Rated R. Does have full frontal nudity and blasphemy. So that's the third movie in the past 2 weeks that I've seen that I have to confess for. Thanks to Karate Man. No, actually, one was my fault. And what was the other one? Can't even remember. Oh, it was it was another Karate Man recommendation. Showdown in Little Tokyo. That was the other movie that I saw that had nudity in it. All right. Rapid Fire is a 1992 U.S. action film directed by Dwight H. Little and Dwight Hubbard Little, I should say. And starring Brandon Lee, Powers Boothe, and Nick Mancuso. The film was released in the U.S. on August 21st, 1992. Production company 20th Century Fox, distributed by 20th Century Fox, release date August 21st, 1992, running time 95 minutes, country United States, language English, box office 14.4 million in North America. The film opens in Thailand with Antonio Serrano, a mafia drug distributor, visiting longtime associate Kingman Tao, a drug kingpin. What is a Chinese dude doing in Thailand? Serrano is having problems and he wants them to work together, but his request is not reciprocated. Turned off from politics after witnessing the death of his father at Tiananmen Square in China, Los Angeles art student Jake Lowe is lured to a party of Chinese pro-democracy activists. They're a bunch of drug dealers. While there, he witnesses Serrano killing party sponsor Carl Chang, who was an associate of Tao. When Serrano and his men attempt to kill Jake, he swiftly disarms them using martial arts techniques. Yeah. Only in the movies can you see Bruce Lee's son take away guns from people using his martial arts techniques. Jake is... I shouldn't complain, though, because the fight scenes are pretty decent. You've got the full frontal. You've got the police corruption going. You've got the Brandon Lee, who's totally indifferent about politics, democracy, and whatever, capitalism. The first half of the movie got me intrigued. I didn't think Brandon Lee was going to play good cop in this one, but he does. He actually volunteers to become a member of the police force somehow. All right. While there, he witnesses Serrano killing party. Okay. Jake is placed under protective custody by federal agents who coerce him into coming to Chicago and testifying against Serrano. When the agents at the safe house are revealed to be corrupt, Jake escapes through the window and he encounters a young police detective named Carla Withers. I thought she was a bad person too. I didn't know who she was. She just came out of some bowling alley. Withers' partner, Lieutenant Mace Ryan, helps Jake evade his pursuers. And Lieutenant Mace Ryan reveals that he has been pursuing Tao for 10 years. Jake is persuaded by Ryan to help him exploit Serrano's FBI ties and obtain information about Tao's next shipment. Though the sting operation is successful, Jake is nearly killed in a barrage of gunfire and assaults Ryan after he reveals his involvement was not necessary. Later that night, Carla invites Jake to her apartment and shows him his father's confidential file, in addition to her titties. After an intimate discussion, they realize their feelings for each other and have sex. It's dry humping, topless scene, and a little bit of you get to see a little bit of her arse too. Meanwhile, Ryan and his team lead a raid at the revealed location of the next shipment, Tao's laundry factory. Both the lovemaking and the events of the raid are shown alternately as they occur in actual time, culminating with Serrano being murdered in his cell by one of Tao's henchmen. Jake, Ryan, and Withers subsequently team up to bring down Tao once more. Though Ryan and Withers are captured by Tao's men, Jake rescues them and eventually kills Tao at a train platform. All right. So the best scenes in here are the Blondie doing the full frontal nude sketch class. And then we've got Al Leong versus Brandon Lee. That was another decent scene. Pretty cool. And you've got the usual suspects, James Liu and Gerald Okamura. Dwight Hubbard Little's work had attracted the attention of Steven Seagal, but his usual studio partner, Warner Brothers, was reticent to hire the director of Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, a horror film. Seagal used a clause in his contract that enabled him to make one film for a different company, and he set up Mark for Death at Fox, where Little was approved by studio boss Joe Roth. Mark for Death was a hit, and it established Little as an action director. Steven Seagal in the early 90s, baby. Interested in building up an action star of their own, Fox retained Little's services for a new vehicle starring Brandon Lee, whose name held great marketing upside, although Little found him to be a commendable actor as well. Director of photography Wick Waite and stage director Basil Wallace, who played the main bad guy Screwface in Mark for Death, also returned. The film's impetus came from producer Robert Lawrence, who had come across Lee's early Hong Kong feature, Legacy of Rage. Its working title was Moving Target. Before Little was hired by Fox, John Woo was in talks to direct. According to Lee, the script was tailored for him, and he had access to screenwriter Alan B. McElroy from the get-go. Cindy Surley, the wife and frequent collaborator of executive producer John Fasano, also contributed to the story. Paul Atanasio performed some uncredited rewrites. Nonetheless, Little was dissatisfied with the way the second antagonist was reintroduced later in the story, which he felt was anticlimactic, and it hampered the picture's reception. Fox's PR campaign for the film used the motto, Brandon Lee, the action hero of the 90s, which the actor found overly emphatic, as he considered Rapid Fire to be his first legitimate starring role. While comfortable with his father's legacy, Lee saw the film as a springboard to mainstream success, and he hoped to one day transition to a broader acting career akin to those of Johnny Depp or Mel Gibson. During the shoot, he met Raymond J. Barry, a respected stage performer and dramatist, and he expressed interest in starring in one of his plays to build up his credibility. Barry was excited by this process and too thought of Lee as a capable performer beyond the obvious exposure benefits of casting him due to Seagal's Aikido techniques relying on using his opponent's own momentum against themselves rather than raw aggression. Little felt that he had to build a traditional cop film atmosphere around them to maintain tensions, whereas Lee's more kinetic style lent itself to a purer action film. Lee choreographed the action scenes in cooperation with stunt coordinator, personal friend, and fellow Jeet Kune Do practitioner Jeff Imada. Lee broke a toe during the shoot, which caused his foot to swell up, and it hampered his mobility. Some action scenes had to be switched around to accommodate his impairment while it healed. Principal photography started on May 28, 1991, and it was announced as completed on October 8th, 1991. The prologue was shot on location in Thailand. The rest of the film was shot in Los Angeles and Chicago areas where it is set. The interior of the Chicago restaurant, where one of the film's larger set pieces takes place, had to be rebuilt on a Valencia, California set in order to film the collapse of its balcony. The film debuted at number 3 at the domestic box office. It finished its North American run with a U.S. total of $14.4 million tally. The film was released on VHS in the U.S. on February 24th, 1993. It performed solidly in rental stores, cracking the top 10 of the Billboard charts, which analysts described as uncommon for a film led by martial artists. Although there were reports of heightened interest in Lee's movies following his death while shooting The Crow, Rapid Fire spent 7 weeks in the top 20, the better part of it unaffected by the media attention surrounding his untimely demise. 20th Century Fox Entertainment released the DVD in Region 2 in the UK on July 16, 2001, and Region 1 in the United States on May 21st, 2002. Twilight Time released the film in a limited Blu-ray edition on August 21st, 2018. Stephen Hunter of the Baltimore Sun wrote that the film's fast pace, which he compared to video games, leaves Lee unable to show his charisma. Although he called the film a disaster, Chicago Tribune critic Gene Siskel called Lee likable and appealing. We don't care about Gene Siskel on this channel. Be gone! We won't post the Siskel and Ebert review of this movie in the description. Writing in the LA Times, Kevin Thomas described the film as better than Enter the Dragon and a star-making role for Lee. I agree with that. Kevin Thomas hit the nail on the head. Stephen Holden of the New York Times said the film exploits the death of Lee's father, martial arts actor Bruce Lee, to make his career seem more sympathetic. I don't know about that. He's he's got his own kung fu skills. Just because his dad is a kung fu master doesn't mean that he's also genetically a kung fu master. He had to train for it. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has an approval rating of 45% based on 22 reviews. The average rating is 4.86 out of 10, which is not impressive. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B+ on an A+ to F scale. Now, that is more impressive. In retrospect, director Dwight Hubbard Little said they should have combined the two villains into a single one, so audiences got a single climactic fight instead of a weird structure with multiple climaxes. Hey, I was fine with the film. I didn't mind having two bad guys in there fighting with each other. According to some outlets, the script, Simon Says, by Jonathan Hensley, which was eventually used for Die Hard with a Vengeance, had been considered for a sequel to Rapid Fire. However, no direct sources mention Angela Bassett was projected to co-star as an African American community activist. She remained under consideration as the film was being retooled into a Die Hard sequel before the character was rewritten as a male and given to Samuel L. Jackson. In 1995, Powers Boothe and Raymond J. Barry were reunited to support another martial arts actor, Jean-Claude Van Damme, in his vehicle Sudden Death. In that film, Boothe plays the villain while Barry plays a virtuous U.S. vice president. Is there such a thing? Dustin Nguyen met Brandon Lee's sister, Shannon Lee, on the set of this film. And Dustin Nguyen would later work on the TV series she created on Shannon Lee would later work on the TV series she created based on Bruce Lee's writings Warrior. However, his booking on that show owed more to his connection with its executive producer, Justin Lin, the Fast and the Furious dude. All right. The film's score was comprised by Christopher Young. It was issued on CD and cassette by Varice Sarabondi at the time of its theatrical release. Young contributed an audio commentary of the film to its Blu-ray re-release, which also offers an isolated score track. The soundtrack features 2 songs by hard rock band Hardline. The soundtrack is kind of weird hard rock music. I don't know how to describe it. It's like hair band music. All right. Rapid 1992, rated R, 1 hour 35 minutes, gets a pretty decent 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 11,000 ratings. Lame stream. When student Jake Lowe witnesses a killing, he finds himself caught between 2 feuding drug lords, betrayed and set up by federal agents. The only person he can trust is Ryan, a Chicago cop who reminds Jake of his deceased father. What the two have in common, I have no idea. All right. More like this: Showdown in Little Tokyo, Laser Mission, which I've recently added to my list, Legacy of Rage, and another Rapid Fire from 2006. All right. Brandon Lee was a self-confessed Jackie Chan fan, who in turn was a fan of Lee's father, Bruce Lee. Brandon pays homage to Chan by incorporating key moves from Police Story 1985 and Dragons Forever 1988 in the final fight scenes. When Jake is fighting the corrupt FBI guys in the apartment, he kicks the gun out of the hands of one of the agents and it falls between the bed and the wall. The next shot shows the gun lying on the bed. Here are some quotes. Jake Lowe: "Oh, great, more cops." Agent Stewart: "We are the FBI. This is Agent Wesley, and I am Agent Stewart." Jake Lowe: "Oh, cops in suits." TV version was cut in order to reduce violence. Uncut version is available on rental video by 20th Century Fox. This was edited into Hot Shots Part Deuce 1993, which I have on my list. Hot Shots Part Deuce is number 17 on my list. Can't Find My Way, written by Joey Gioli, and Neil Sean, performed by Hardline and courtesy of MCA Records, is the soundtrack. All right. Here's a somewhat flattering review, 7 out of 10. Not as high as what I'm giving it, but pretty decent. This comes from MJW2305, and it's dated January 28th, 2005. MJW2305 gives it a 7 out of 10. The title of the IMDb review is Fast Kung Fu Action. Jake Brandon Lee gets caught up between feuding drug lords and witnesses a killing, making him Mace Ryan's Power Booth's new best friend. While helping the cops with their investigations, he becomes more than a witness. He becomes the man to save the day, packed with gunfights and great kung fu. This movie is a must-see for fans of the genres. After Showdown in Little Tokyo and preceding The Crow, this was sadly Brandon's penultimate movie, and he is, like his father, a big loss to the movie world. For Brandon Lee fans, or indeed kung fu movie fans, this is must-see. Rest in peace, Brandon. Your public misses you. All right. Private Ross 99 is in the chat room, and he redacted his comment. All right, so that's the end of my review. Next up, I've got The Hasty Heart, 1946, Creature from the Black Lagoon, 1954, and Alien Resurrection, 1997. So those are the next three coming down the pike. Not much in the way of Karate Man stuff for the next couple weeks, but I'll probably get back to it around Christmas time. So not much for the next week. Maybe not even, well, I might get around to it Christmas weekend. We'll see how it goes. I got my son the whole time. He's doing altar service at 2 or 3 churches around here. And I don't know if he wants to watch movies with me or what he's going to do. Read books, sit around and do nothing for like 6 days. I don't know what he wants to do here. I guess I'll find out later.